Once upon a time in the land of Massachusetts, there was a big event that happened on a cold December night. The year was 1773, and for weeks, tensions had been rising between the colonists and the British soldiers stationed in Boston. The colonists were angry because the British had passed a series of laws that they felt were unfair, like the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act. But those are stories for another day. On this night, things were about to get real. As the sun set, people started to gather in the Old South Meeting House. They were a rowdy bunch, including men, women, and even some children. They wanted to do something drastic to show the British how angry they were. You see, the British had put a tax on tea, and the colonists didn't like that one bit. They felt it was a way for the British to make money off of them, without giving them any representation in Parliament. And let's face it, taxes on tea were just plain old-fashioned wrong. After a lot of yelling and screaming, they decided that enough was enough. They needed to take action, but what kind of action? One man stood up and said, "I'm going to make a toast." Everyone shouted, "Hooray, a toast." He raised his glass and said, "Here's to the king. May his cup be filled with as much tea as he pleases." The crowd was not impressed by this man's idea. They wanted something more, something bigger, something like destroying a whole bunch of tea. And who could blame them? Who likes tea anyway, right? Then someone shouted, "We should destroy all the tea in Boston Harbor." This got the crowd's attention. It was crazy, maybe even a little bit dangerous, but it was also brilliant. If they destroyed all the tea, the British wouldn't be able to sell it and make money from it. Plus, it would show the British how serious the colonists were about their anger. But there was a problem. How exactly were they going to destroy all the tea? The answer came when someone said, "Let us disguise ourselves as Native Americans and sneak onto the ships, carrying the tea and dump it into the harbor." It was the perfect plan. No one would have expected a group of angry colonists to dress up like Native Americans and raid a bunch of tea ships. Plus, it was kind of funny. Just imagine the look on the British soldiers' faces when they realized what had happened. So the colonists got to work. They made themselves some simple costumes out of things like animal skins and feathers. They also made some tools to help them load the tea onto the boats. Then when everything was ready, they set sail for the 3 ships carrying the tea, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor and the Beaver. When the British soldiers on the ships saw the men dressed like Native Americans, they were confused. They had no idea what was about to happen next. But soon they found out. The colonists started throwing tea overboard, and the soldiers tried to stop them, but it was no use. In the end, the colonists dumped 92,000 pounds of tea into Boston Harbor. That's like 340 million for 150 cups of tea. The British were furious, but the colonists were happy. They knew they had made a statement, and they were ready to pay the price for their actions. Many of the colonists were arrested and put on trial. But in the end, the British couldn't prove that they had done anything wrong. And so the Boston Tea Party became a hero to the colonists. They celebrated with parades and parties and fireworks. They had struck a blow for liberty, and they were proud of it. And that, my friends, is the story of how a group of angry colonists dressed like Native Americans and dumped a whole bunch of tea into the ocean. It's a story about standing up for what you believe in and fighting back against the man. So next time you're feeling a little oppressed, just remember the Tea Party and raise your glass, or should I say your teapot, to the revolution.